Welcome, everyone, back to yet another episode of the Mates Rates podcast. Last week we got spooky, and I did mention it last episode, but very exciting news. Melbourne's out of fucking lockdown, baby. Let's go! I'm sorry if that burnt your ears, but yes, holy shit, that was a long 3 months, and we're finally out of lockdown. We have squash the numbers, watch this part of the podcast get, what's the word I'm looking for? Watch this be like a fail part, So for those who don't know, for the last 4 days, we have recorded 0 new cases and 0 deaths. And our case number total is like 38. Look at me. I'm basically Dan Andrews right now, just running the daily numbers. But it's been fucking sick, like not literally sick, like fully cool sick. But I'm recording this on Tuesday. It's out Wednesday. Watch it Wednesday. There's going to be like 1 or 2 cases and there's going to be an uproar somewhere on the internet, but we're just going to ignore that for the meantime. I have my coffee here in my hands. I'm going to be drinking this coffee throughout the podcast. So if you notice a change, if I start getting more and more energetic, I already am, but if you see it happening more and more, that is why, I'm going to probably start hearing colors, tasting sounds and all those other weird things because of it. But yeah, welcome back to episode 11. We're in double digit territory, which is something else I didn't mention last podcast, but did you guys like the Halloween special? Was it scary? Did you manage to sleep at night? Yeah, of course you did. I didn't have anything really that scary to talk about. But we are moving on. And yeah, we are finally out of lockdown. I'm able to work again. Me and like many other friends in the creative industry. That was like a wild few months where we weren't allowed to work, but now we can. So I can finally use this camera setup that I spent like $5,500 on just before lockdown. I can finally use it again outside of my podcast and dumb sketch videos, which, come to think of it, I should probably get like a smaller backup kit to do that type of shit, because it is quite absurd, the setup that I have just for this podcast for the level that it's at. But what do you expect? It's my career. So, of course it's going to be good quality. That's what I do. I bring the good quality shit to you guys who are listening, my little fam. I fucking love all of you that listen to this podcast. See, I'm already really hyped. But yes, something that happened before lockdown that I haven't spoken publicly about is I signed a contract with an agency to basically... It's not an in-house role. It's not a job. It's like a subcontract thing. I was working with them a lot, and they said, hey, you're doing a lot of work with us. We want to keep doing that with you. Here's a contract to make it a fish. And I was like, dope. So I've been doing a lot of work with them. And the reason why I mentioned them is because I was doing some editing work, not a lot, but some remote editing work during lockdown because they were doing shoots in Sydney. But they've got like a really cool studio in West Melbourne, and I managed to go back there yesterday for the first time in months. It was great. Good seeing the team again. I was just doing small stuff, just clean up the studio and helping set up sets for the shoots that are happening this week, which are just like photography shoots. But yeah, that's something exciting that happened to me just before lockdown, I guess. So yeah. It's pretty good. I don't want to like brag about it too much because I know like a lot of people in the creative industry are hurting during this time, but small victory for me that I just kind of want to mention. But yeah, shout out to all of the people, like all of my friends in the creative world that have been doing it tough for the last few months. Hopefully things pick up for you. I'm sending all of my love, and yeah, let's hope for was it like 6 weeks before Christmas, really? Hopefully we can have some work so we can have some money for Christmas and New Year's and who knows. But yeah, what have you guys been doing since restrictions eased? I really want to know. Ooh, sorry for that spicy sound from my coffee cup. So we have taken full advantage of the lockdown easing, Caitlin and I, who you might remember from such podcast episodes as like 2 episodes ago for our anniversary special. It was great. So what happened is after the first lockdown that we had back in March or whatever it was, afterwards, Caitlin and I are a bit hesitant about going out. We're like, let's not go out just yet. Let's just kind of, take it easy, take it slow. And, we weren't in a hurry. But then we went back into lockdown. So opportunities missed. So you could probably see that this time around, we're like, nah, fuck that. So we've been out a bunch. We've been out, like, I'd say every second day since restrictions have lifted. We've hit up Chapel Street a few times, our home, really, because that was like the first place that we lived at together as a couple. Oh, cute. So, yeah. Hit up Chapel Street a few times, and we were there last night actually at Death or Glory. If you are in the area, hit up Death or Glory. There are like a bunch of places I want to shout out on Chapel Street, but Death or Glory is like one of the main ones that I ventured to with my friends. And yeah, we were there last night at the front having a few drinks and dinner, and it was just so sick seeing Chapel Street back to where it's at, because the last 3 months it's been a complete ghost town, and it's just been like weird seeing it that dead. But in saying that, it's probably been weird everywhere in the world since lockdown. So anyways, it was good being there last night and seeing like people doing chap laps. If you're from Melbourne, you know the notorious chap laps. I'm sure they probably happen in other parts of Melbourne too, like Lygon Street and shit like that. But basically just like people with fully sick cars and motorbikes and shit just prowl Chapel Street. And there's one guy who was like, his mate was completely fuck-eyed and he was doing like the Queen wave out the window. And I was like, Chapel's back, and I feel like nothing has happened. I'm just kind of getting the last 3 months, putting it in a little box and fucking burying it in the backyard and just forgetting that it all happened all together and just trying to move on. So yeah, it's sick seeing things back up and running again, which is really cool. So, I'm not going to get political, but you have to admit, lockdown worked. I'm sorry. Sorry for all you anti-lockdown people. It worked, didn't it? So, again, I don't want to get political about it because a lot of political shit has been happening in the world, which I might touch on a little bit later because, as you can probably tell by the time this recording is happening, something big's happening. So, hashtag big things coming. I guess big things happening in Australia because we're fucking opening up again. I'm sorry. I've just kind of rambled for the last 8 minutes and it's kind of not really going the way that most people wanted. But I'm sorry. I'm just really fucking stoked that lockdown's done with now. As I mentioned before, I can work again. And I did take this camera setup that I'm filming on now. I did take that to the city to film little video with my good mate Jai. We just kind of ran around for like an hour or hour and a half, something like that, just filming a bunch of clips with a model, which is kind of cool. And that video is going to come out today and I'm really stoked on it. So yeah, that's like some cool little creative things for me. In mentioning that, I will say it kind of early on, I am going to do my best to keep this podcast every week, but as I was saying before, with the agency that I'm at, work's kind of going to ramp up there for the next few weeks. So I'm sorry if I miss a podcast episode or two, but also not sorry because I can finally fucking earn money again, which is great. Which is another thing I want to talk about because I just, look at me. You know I'm going to say it. If this is your first time listening to this, I'm sorry. I talk about TikTok a lot because it's all I've done for the last 3 months is just consume and make TikToks. But I did make a TikTok just before, which I want to quickly talk about, which is something really funny. I made a TikTok like a month or so ago, just saying how stupid it is about the anti-lockdown protest. Mind you, I just dropped Caitlin off to the city today, and I drove back, and they blocked off the street that goes towards Parliament, like the top end of Burke Street, because there was an anti-lockdown protest. Where's the lockdown? We're out of it. Stop protesting. That's all I want to say about that. It's fucking stupid, but I did witness that on the way back. So anyways, about a month ago, I made a TikTok about the lockdown and how like anti-lockdown protests is fucking stupid, and you know, it is for like the greater good, and that's why we trust scientists and like doctors and all that shit. But you know what? I don't want to get into it because you're going to fucking argue about it in the fucking comment section anyways. That's just my view. You might have your own view. That's great. Just don't bring beef to this fucking podcast, all right? So, I made a TikTok about that, and this dude commented on it. What did he say again? Something along the lines of like, oh, you haven't been affected by this lockdown, and that's why you're all for it. And I clapped back pretty hard at him, and I said, mate, I've lost 85% of like my income because of this lockdown. It did that comment go the way that you wanted it to? Because I'm still for lockdown. Didn't think so. And then he had the fucking audacity to reply again saying, oh, well, I guess you're fine living off the taxpayer dollar then. Yes. Listen carefully. I pay taxes every fucking year. In case something like this happens, I'm entitled to that money. That's how taxes work. And you're just proving my point that people with very low IQs are the ones protesting the lockdown. If you're going to come over with some dumb shit like that, you should not be protesting the lockdown, because if you want to protest something like that, you got to be coming out with fucking scientific facts, which you're not. Just Facebook articles. But yeah, here we fucking are out of lockdown. Anyways, I just found that shit funny. Just, you know, making little small beefs online. So, something else I did out of lockdown is I had a photographer meetup. I've never really done one before, and no. Okay, it's not a photographer meetup that you think of when we didn't get together with all our cameras and fucking nerd out, okay? We're better than that. It was a social thing. No, I'm kidding. A few of us had cameras. I didn't, though, because I was just too cool for that. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, it was great. I got to meet like a whole bunch of other photographers and filmmakers, and it was just cool seeing everyone hyped again because we can fucking work again and do our stuff, like do what we do again. But one of the dudes that I met, Hayden, shout out Hayden, was like a really cool dude to chat with. So he, not Hayden Dib, you know, this is a small community, so I'm going to call you up by name. Not Hayden Dib, I love you, mate, but it's not fucking you. I met you years ago. Anyways. So Hayden and I were chatting, and he asked me, hey, have you been to film school? And I said, yeah, I went, 9 years ago or whatever. And he said, oh yeah, cool, I studied film at SAE. I was like, oh, sick, because I've noticed with like filmmaking and photography now, it's like no one goes to uni for it. Everyone just jumps online, does like YouTube or like learns off YouTube or some form of online course. And then that's great. I'm all for that. But in saying that, it's hard to come across people that have been to film school before. So him and I were just chatting, and because he went to SAE, which you don't know. If you don't know, it's like a privatized institution for media, like sound, filmmaking, all that type of shit. And I went to something very similar to that. I think I actually tried to get into SAE. Yeah, I did. I tried to get into SAE, and I got knocked back because of my high school scores, which is always an interesting thing. But we were chatting about our experiences with film school, and he made a really good point. And he said there's two types of people that go to film school. The ones that want to make films and the ones that just love films. And I completely agree, because there's a distinct difference between the two. And I kind of had like a flashback moment of like film school for me. And I gotta admit, like my film school was fucking tiny. I think like my graduating class was like 20 people. That's how like these privatized institutes kind of work. So it might be different now that everyone's like really interested in film, but back then it was something that nerds did and still do. So yeah, I remember when I was at film school, dealing with those people that were just really into film. And there was this one guy that, holy shit, it's like PTSD coming back now. there was so many moments where you would just want to yell, shut up to him. And sometimes some people did, and it was kind of funny. But this dude, he wore a fedora. Not even exaggerating, he wore a fedora. And he was the type of person that would challenge the lecturers. Now, I don't know what's like at SAE, but at the film school I went to, Queensland School of Film and Television, it's a mouthful, but QSFT for short. Fun fact, so where I went to film school was just around the corner, like one suburb down from where I lived, which was great. So I'd get on the train, 2-minute train ride, and I was there. It was great. But I just realized, I looked them up the other month for some reason, and they moved around the corner, like literally a block from the street that I used to live in onto a street called Warwick Street. Coincidence? Think not. Maybe I had an influence on that. No, I didn't. So, Roy's up. Leroy, my cat, is up, and he's at my camera. He's chill. Remember, guys, if he screams, he screams. So, no. No, he's crossing frame. He has woken from his slumber, so he's going to definitely be in screaming mood. Anyways, this guy, Kieran, I think his name was. He wore like this fedora. And yeah, he would challenge the lecturers. Anyways, the lecturers at my film school, they weren't people who just studied film their whole life or something like that. No, these people are legit as fuck. Like, they had been in the industry for a very long time. So they know what they're talking about. They're just doing like film school stuff, like lecturing on the side as like a little side hustle, as you might say. So I went to film school in Brisbane, and that's where like the Gold Coast lots are. So big feature films happen there. G'day, Leroy. So our gaffer lecturer, who is, in the lighting department, for those who don't know, again, this is just education podcast time. He was like the most industry experienced dude there. He has worked on every big feature film that has been filmed in Australia. And this motherfucker had the audacity to always challenge the lecturers. And it was just so annoying. It's like, dude, you are like 19 years old trying to challenge people that have devoted like 20 years of their life to this industry and have been in it. And you want to have the audacity to question it? The most frustrating experience that we had, there was 2 times I remember was really frustrating. There was one small time we were in like we're learning visual effects, like the very basics of After Effects. You can learn that now in a 5-minute video on YouTube. For some reason, it took me a whole fucking year. So he had the audacity. He was like challenging him on something and trying to like make shortcuts. And the guy was like, our lecturer, bless his soul, very patient, was like, no, that's not how this works. You have to do it this way. And he just wouldn't budge about it. And it was just super frustrating. And someone else, like, I definitely remember someone else telling him to shut up then. The one that takes the fucking cake was we're in producing. We learned about producing. And part of our producing assignments, we have to do an A to Z budget. And if you don't know what A to Z budget is, again, like, just film school cost me like 25 grand. Pay me $500. I'll give you all this information. So A to Z budget is basically the big fucking itemized list on every small detail on a film. It is like, if you're a numbers person, shout out to all the fucking producers out there, because if you're a numbers person, it's the fucking job for you. But I'm definitely not. And that was really hard, and we all failed the final assignment, which is like the to do an A to Z budget. I can't remember what budget we were given, but it was fucking insane. So we all basically failed, and we had to resit it, except for this dude, Kieran. I want to say his name was Kieran, with the fedora, and not only did he pass, right, he got a distinction. And he challenged the distinction because he was 1 mark off a high distinction, and he was fucking going through like the few mistakes he made and was trying to challenge that. Do you understand? If you're listening to this and you know someone that's like this, tell them to fucking stop. Like, just don't rub it in. We're all trying to fucking get through this together, and you want to challenge that to rub it in even more. A lecturer just like gave in because after we were all yelling at him to shut the fuck up, the lecturer was just like, fine, I'll give you the mark if it makes you feel better. And she, bless her soul, she actually said that. And he was just like, yeah, it will actually. It's like, oh, shut the fuck up. Anyways, as you can tell, I'm getting a bit too heated. Hear that? That's the sound of my cold brew energy, baby. All right, so that was really cool. Shout out to Hayden. It was really cool hanging out with you, dude, and reminiscing about film school. And yeah, just that whole vibe was mad. There was like a whole group of us just chilling in St. Kilda. Went to a bar and got pizzas and had a drink. Just good shit now that we're out of lockdown. So, now I've spoken about that on length. So I'm going to move on now. Now, okay, we're gonna go back. We're gonna go back to a minute, not to TikTok. We're gonna go back to Reddit. I received a death threat online. Now, it's questionable if this is a death threat, but it's a very fucking heated message I got online. So, in other news, Hillsong, the church, the mega church people, bought Festival Hall. Now, if you don't know, Festival Hall is a very iconic venue in Melbourne. Yes, the venue's shit, okay? But it's historical, okay? And developers have been trying to knock it down for apartments. Everyone said, no. Then Hillsong just bought it for $36 million, or something absurd like that. Now, the worst part is Hillsong have come out and said, we're doing massive renovations already. I'm really not keen to see what those renos are going to be like. Secondly, they said that they aren't going to change the way that it runs with music. I'm calling fucking bullshit on that. You're telling me, right? Okay. The big metal band Architects, right, was the last band I saw play at Festival Hall, okay? Sold out that motherfucker. It's like 4,000 people or whatever. It's huge. They are very anti-religious. See, even Leroy's agreeing. He's screaming at the top of his lungs right now. You're telling me, right, that next time Architects tour Australia, they're going to go to... Ooh, Leroy, careful, buddy. You almost tripped and unplugged my camera. Still rolling. We're okay. You're telling me that next time Architects tour Australia, they're going to go to Hillsong, the church company, where they sing very anti-government, anti-political, like anti-religious songs, and they're going to fucking say yes? No! It's not going to happen. So, fuck Hillsong for buying such a historical venue, and it's probably going to ruin live music at that level, because that's like the last venue that we have at that size. The last venue was the Palace Theatre. I almost said plays in St. Kilda. Palace Theatre. Oh, sorry, getting way too heated. A Palace Theatre that's been knocked down for apartments, which, by the way, they were trying to get historically listed, and the developers paid some fucking bozos under the table to start ripping it up. So when they went to assess it for historical certification, it was already torn down and they couldn't do shit about it. So, as you can tell, I'm very passionate about music, the music world still, and fucking oath, like, don't buy Hillsong. You have all the money in the world. Why buy it? But I get it. Everyone's got a fucking dollar. We're going through a pandemic right now, but Hillsong are fine because they keep getting tax cuts from fucking liberal government. All right, I'm getting way too heated about that. Sorry, guys. I'm going to bring it down and take another sip of my coffee. So, moving on going back to my death threat. This is what it was about. Someone posted that on a little site called Reddit. Now, if you've been on Reddit during the lockdown, whoo-wee. Man, there's been a lot of like QAnon and fucking conspiracy theorists going rampant through those fucking subreddits, man. I had to take a break. Anyways, someone posted that article on the Melbourne subreddit and said, yo, Hillsong have bought Festival Hall. And everyone's like, oh, no, that sucks. That's so bad. And this is word for word what I said. Everyone stop crying about Dan Andrews for 2 seconds and start giving a shit about this. Now, okay, all right, maybe I asked for it, okay? Maybe people are just like a little bit too on edge during lockdown and they're so politically charged that they want to like say something about it. Before I get to that though, I had like almost 1,000 upvotes on my comment. So I would say I would win, but give me 2 seconds and I'm going to pull up what this person said. So I made this comment and then I'm going to say like 10 minutes later, I received this DM on Reddit. All right. This is long. I'm going to show it on video. This is pretty lengthy. Dan Andrews literally caused this by shutting down. So, oh my God, holy shit, you really are an NPC. I just, now that I read it out loud, I love the fact that like their thought pattern changed while they were typing and then they put it in like their text. They didn't bother changing it. They were just like, had a switch up in their brain and they had like a little bipolar moment. And then they all just started to keep going again. That's the first sentence. You have no brain. You are nothing. You will never be anything. If you died, nothing would change. Nothing in history would be effective in any noticeable way by anyone. You are a worthless dog. I love you for being that. So many people have to be it. And I really do think that them not knowing their true fate is integral to society. I'm trying to destroy your mind by alerting you to the fact that I'm trying to destroy your mind by alerting you to the fact of your empty fate. This is that's a real fucking thing that I got online. How mental is that? I received that and I was like, you know what? I just need to take a break tonight. And you got to understand something, right? I'm gonna say this loud and proud. Well, I was and still am a fucking nerd. I spent my whole life being bullied, all right? Right through school. The most traumatic shit happened to, like, you know what? I'm going to say it. My mum died in high school. People still fucking bullied me. They didn't stop. They didn't give a shit, all right? So I have tough fucking skin. And so when I see that, I kind of like, all right, cool. I get it. I'm just going to take a breather and then just move on. Same thing happened with a couple of other lockdown related TikToks that I've made and that have received a lot of viewership, flex, but also a lot of threats in the meantime. And you know what I do? And I really am sorry if you are listening to this. I will explain this though. But if you're watching the video, you get a video demonstration. You see this, right? This is my phone. Brand new iPhone 12, by the way, which is pretty fucking lit. See, this is my home screen. It's a pretty funny home screen. It's a different story behind that. You see this? I swipe down at my home screen and you see this little moon button? I press that and I swipe up and it says, do not disturb. So I don't get any alerts on my phone. And then I just go on with my life. That's how I deal with these type of things. You know, fuck. At the end of the day, right? Yes, I have made some pretty like, not even outrageous. I'm just expressing my opinion and people have their right to express it back. That's fine. But you got to understand this, especially from someone now that is making like comedy content. If I say something that I know is going to piss off a lot of people, and obviously I do everything with care, you know, I try to keep it a level playing field, mind you. You know, that sketch that I made about every film student, I made fun of me twice in that sketch. It's a level playing field. We're all going to do it. But obviously, you know, I'm not going to go out saying the N-word or anything like that, okay? I play it very safe. I'm very aware of the content that I make, but if I do something like that, if I make a quick little TikTok or I put a joke in somewhere on this podcast or fucking wherever, I don't think of it that much. I don't look into this shit that much. Some fucking people on the internet look at shit like this, like it's, you know, an encyclopedia. They want to fucking go through it and have a massive argument. No. For me, it's like this. It's like 1 or 2 sentences, and I just keep going off my life. You know? I really just, it blows my mind how much people get fired up over the internet with this kind of shit. So it's funny, like how sensitive people are. And that really goes into my next point of fragile men. Okay. Now, again, going back on TikTok, I am going back to what I was saying before. The election is up. By the time this podcast comes out, I don't think the election results will be in just yet or thereabouts, but we would have a kind of clear indication on where it's going. Okay, mind you, people are boarding up like their businesses and shit in preparation for the election, which is wild. In Australia, this is what happens, right? Show up at a school or a scout hall, wherever the fuck you go to vote, community hall. You take your pamphlet from the person you want to vote. Everyone's just chilling, you know, waiting in line. I think the longest I've waited is like half an hour, maybe an hour. Go in, do my vote, and on the way out, okay, all right, I'm going to say this, all right? If you leave a voting place and you don't get a sausage sizzle or a baked good from one of the like mums in the community, you deserve, you are the type of person that needs a death threat, all right? That's un-Australian. I will not stand for it, all right? So next time you go out and vote, make sure you pick up a sausage sizzle or a little baked good on the way out, okay? You know, we're all part of the community here. You know, it's great. So that's what we do. And then we wait until the results, and if we lose, we're like, well, that fucking sucks. Let's just move on. So, well, it's not let's just move on. Let's just try better next time. But in America, they're boarding up businesses. They're preparing for war. That is fucking wild. Absolutely crazy. I understand the way voting, like the way that the political landscape is in America is like on a whole nother level, but that's so foreign to me to board up like places. It's probably foreign for them too. So anyways, going back to like fragile dudes, it is hilarious to see like right-wing people and conservative people getting really angry at people like myself that do lean to the left. And they have the audacity to call us fragile. Fuck, I ruined my fucking joke. They have the audacity to call us snowflakes. That's the most snowflake fucking behavior I've ever seen in my life. I've seen videos online of people just driving with like Black Lives Matter stickers and things like that, which is hell yeah, you know, I'm for equal rights in the world, aren't you? And these like Trump supporters and shit are coming up in like gangs and wanting to start a fight, all because they have a sticker on their car. And you have the audacity to call us sensitive? Are you fucking serious? All we're saying is like we just want equal rights for people of color. Like we're asking for like the bare minimum, the absolute bare minimum. Just don't kill people of color if you're a cop. All right, just bare minimum shit. And then it's like, it's just crazy that these people are like, nah, there's no such thing as that. That's never happened. And you know who do say that? White people. Sorry, this is getting way too politically charged, but I did just want to say that, get off my chest. But it's crazy to see these fucking videos. And yeah, I personally feel like Trump supporters are the most, you know, snowflakey. Watch me say that and like maybe clip that and watch like just the fucking flood of people just going nuts at me for it, you know? Just proving my point, isn't it? So yeah, 2020 election. We will quickly touch on it. And honestly, yeah, sick. It would be good if Biden gets in, but only because I just don't want Trump to get in. And people say, oh, like, you're in Australia, you want to have a say in it? Well, yeah, I had a US visa. I paid fucking taxes. I feel like I have some say in it, okay? Another crazy thing, actually, that happened online is I remember, so I was in the States. I left America just before the election last time, the 2016 one. If you listen to my last podcast, which you should, Halloween special was really great. I left just before Halloween, which is coincidentally like a week before the election. So, I left 2 weeks before the election, and you could just tell that Trump was going to win. So it was like a shit time, but I was kind of like, whatever. I didn't have my visa then, okay? So I got my visa after that, and I made a tweet as a joke saying, oh, Trump got in, like there goes my chance of getting a visa. And then one of my mates replied to me as well saying the same thing, because he was working with bands touring America. We were both like, haha, isn't that like funny kind of thing. And Trump supporters came after both of us saying like, good, we don't want you in our fucking country and all this stuff. It's like, dude, what the hell? We're just trying to make light of a very shit situation, you know? It's whatever. So yeah, as I was saying before, it seemed pretty it didn't seem obvious that Trump was going to win. It looked like a tight election, but it was kind of like, meh, it looks like Trump's going to win, and he did. This time around, I have no fucking idea. So it is going to be very, very, very interesting to see how it pans out in the next couple of days. But it's, oh man, it's honestly exhausting. Like I really want to talk more about it because, for years I actually never gave a shit about politics. And then when I met Caitlin, she's just like, what the fuck? Like, why do you not care about politics? And started teaching me why I should care. And then I registered to vote and I started voting. Don't tell the government I didn't start voting until I was like 24, because I don't know if I'm going to get fined for that or not, because I didn't vote for like 6 years. That's another thing. If you don't know this, in Australia, you have to vote. Otherwise, you get fined. In America, it's like, oh, well, just show up maybe if you want. If you don't, whatever. So yeah, I have taken an interest in politics then, and again, like I don't want to have too many hot takes on politics in both Australia and America because I don't know everything, And this is what I was saying to people that I was making fun of that were protesting lockdown. I stay in my fucking lane, okay? I know my lane. I know where everything is. I know the surroundings. I keep it that way. I don't venture into somewhere that I don't know, which could be oncoming traffic. But these people, high school dropouts, are all of a sudden like, hey, I've got a degree in epidemiology, I don't even pronounce that right. That's how much I don't fucking know. That's why I just trust scientists when it comes to COVID and shit like that. So, yeah, it will... So, yeah, I stay in my lane when it comes to politics, and it's going to be very interesting to see the results. So, don't know what that's going to mean for the American people and shit, but what I will say about America in the political thing is, like, it's... Actually, we watched Borat too, and that was pretty fucking good, talking about politics in America. What I will say is, like, COVID is fucked over there. I really hope that whoever wins the election, I don't give a fuck at this point. I just hope that someone figures out what the hell is happening when it comes to Corona, because people just are dying left, right, and center. And there is some level of survivor guilt in Australia because we're good now, for the most part. But yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. I was actually talking to my mate Henry. Shout out to Henry and the Boston Manor dudes the other day. And he was like, oh, have you spoken to Trophy Eyes guys much? And I said, no, not really. Like, this lockdown's honestly been a bit hard. And, like, how's that conversation work? Oh, look, we both lost our fucking jobs. Ooh, it's not an enjoyable conversation. But I said to him, oh, the Trophy Eyes dudes are doing a few shows in New South Wales, like, next month or something like that. And he's just like, oh, like live streams. I'm like, no, like actual shows of people. And he didn't know. He was just like, I didn't know Australia was on that level. I was like, yeah, we've been having gigs for a while now, everywhere except for Victoria, obviously. And he was fascinated by it. And I found that crazy. I thought people in the UK would be kind of switched on what's happening in Australia, but obviously not. And then I realized America would definitely have no fucking idea what's happening here in Australia. They're probably saying stuff like, oh, Australia doesn't have any COVID cases because they stopped testing and shit like that. But yeah, I don't know. I had some very interesting conversations with Americans 4 years ago when it was the Trump-Hillary election. So yeah, I don't know. But in saying that, I think I'm going to wrap it because I'm pretty fucked up from this coffee, not going to lie. I also got to finish this edit with this model, which I'm going to pump out tonight, which will be really sick. A nice little creative project for the first time in a long time. But yeah, all right. So I am going to wrap it, but thank you again so much for tuning in to another episode of the Mates Rates podcast. If you have listened this far, let me know who you're going to vote for in an election. No, please don't. Please keep this as not political as possible, even though half this fucking podcast was political. But thanks for listening. Again, I might be a bit rusty from this point onwards, just while I get used to getting back to work. In advance, I really appreciate and thank your patience. But yeah, I'm hyped to do more stuff on my YouTube channel as well, because randomly I just keep getting a lot more views. I'm sorry, I know I was wrapping up, but I will quickly say that video I did on Tony Robbins did nothing for ages, and then in the past like week or so, it's gotten like an extra like 100 or so views, which is wild because now it's like I think it's the most viewed video on my YouTube channel, which is crazy to think of. But yeah. So yeah, if you want to watch my dumb sketch content, you can do that at youtube.com/WarwickHughes, because I've got a custom URL now and I'm very excited about that. Maybe I can get the same for this podcast channel in the future. That'd be sick. So yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're listening to this on iTunes, please rate it 5 stars. It does help the podcast get to other people, and tell a couple of your homies about it, and we can kind of grow our little community a bit. But yep, in saying that, I love you all, and I'm toasting my coffee to you, Melbourne. We fucking did it, baby. See you next week.